Hi, I'm Liz Deichler, and my focus is digital citizenship, and I believe it is character education, and I've been doing my data collection in a game called GuildWars 2, which is an MMORPG. I'm terrible. I move around, too. I'm a theater person. An MMORPG is a massively multiplayer online role-play game. What you basically need to know if you're not in with the video game lingo is a lot of people get together to play a game online from all around. So what does learning look like in a video game? I approach this as an educator, as a gamer looking at education. And digital citizenship for me, as character education, means looking at ethics, morals, and values, things we don't test, and things, honestly, we can't test, but we need to discuss more often. So it's fun, support, achievement, and failure, and I'll go into those more at the end. So the first thing you need to know is, what is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship for me came from an amazing media literacy and digital community expert, Jason Oler, who said citizenship itself is a consideration of who we are and wish to be individually and as a society. So it's not just what my ethics, morals, and values are, it's what you also bring in the community, and it's how we agree upon them or disagree upon them. And so digital citizenship itself is character education for the digital age. We are involved in an online community, and so we are figuring out who are we. So why should I care? Why should you care about video games? I think that's really important because I feel a lot of people go, video games, come on, be serious. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you why you should care, okay? David Buckingham, great media literacy expert, talks about how games offer new literacies. And really all these literacies tied into one. We have visual and interactive environments that students are dealing with, reading on-screen and off-screen texts. And I'll go into how the on-screen texts are multiple conversations that you're having. And off-screen texts can be like books that'll tell you, what do I need to achieve in a game? And processing auditory information, not just what the game is giving me, but what am I hearing when I go onto a chat system? Instead of typing to someone, I've decided I'm going to do an online chat system. And all of these happen simultaneously. Also, there's the Good Play Project, which was done in 2011, and there was a ton of wonderful research done on media literacy and digital citizenship. And Henry Jenkins, another amazing man in the media literacy area, said that the choices young people make online have implications not just for themselves, but for others. That goes right back to Oler's, it's about the individual and society. And that these themes, these choices and decisions we make, all have ethical dimensions. And finally, Prensky, who coined the term digital immigrants versus digital natives being those who, once they were right out of the womb, online, there they were. They've only known that. And digital immigrants being those who experienced it in adulthood. And I've coined my own term, which is, I think I'm the digital interpreter, because I had to build a computer when I was 10 because my brother said, you'll never be able to use one unless you make one. And I was a part of writing communities, communities where I took pictures online, gaming communities. So I think I have a unique perspective to say that video games can be used as educational tools. So what's the classroom, right? Well, we have interactive learning. This is me playing. It's a little hard to see. It's a little dark. But I'm basically following what looks like chaos. A bunch of people. I don't know all of them. I probably know 2 of them. And then I'm following a whole other group, and we're going to battle another group. It's interactivity. It's not knowing who you're with, but innately trusting them and going along with them. And this is what my classroom essentially would look like as I was doing my data collection.
So it's kind of like games.
It is a game. Absolutely, it's a game.
Gangs. It's gangs.
Oh, it's gangs?
Gangs, yeah, you're joining a gang.
Oh, well, yeah, when you're doing world versus world, you are. But what's interesting is the gang itself can change. If I pop onto another server, suddenly people I was fighting, I'm friends with. And that's my new gang. So you're constantly changing who you're with, which is interesting. So then there's websites and forums, which a lot of people think games. Wait, websites and forums? Yeah, there was a website for the guild that I was in. And this was an interesting part of my sort of education, my classroom that I looked at. And you can post all sorts of topics that you want here, and you can also post pictures. And a great thing about that was we were able to recognize achievements in these areas. And this is sort of getting into what was I learning there. Achievements are incredibly important. No matter if you got a silly hat because you got a bonus in a game, or if you actually all banded together to push forward into further content in the game. And it was a matter of supporting your peers, which was incredibly important. There was also all of these forum posts we can make. Oh, it cut it off. But it's creating conversations, creative outlets, and group projects. It's not all about the game. That's what's really interesting. It's about getting to know who these people are. There's one topic that's called the bookshop. That was literally us just talking about, what are you reading? Who are you as a person? What do you like to do that isn't just the game? So people wanted to get to know each other in this guild beyond just who you are as a player. There were all these different levels of citizenship you had, these different levels of individuality. And that was my classroom, and now let's go into the learning goals. Now, what is digital citizenship? I went into recognizing achievements. Now I'm going to talk about getting the choices that we make and the ethics, morals, and values involved. So there's getting to know yourself and others. Really important to know who you are as a player. Who am I? What can I contribute? That's down at the very bottom over there. And those are all my skills that I can do as a thief that I decided as my class. So I knew ways that I could contribute by battling, but there were also ways that I could contribute by healing others, which is very interesting for this game. Typically in a game, you either fight, you heal, or you kind of run in and you just block everything for someone. But in this game, you could do any of that. You could be the big blocker in front. You could help fight, or you could help heal, all simultaneously. So you were able to beat everyone at once. That's a very interesting concept in a game. But I would learn, who am I? What can I contribute? Then I would also see that the game told me, hey, I've got a goal. That was really important. Not only the goals we set, but the goals the game told us that we had. Because if we didn't go after those goals, we wouldn't continue on in the process, and then people would get upset at you because you didn't know what the goal was and you didn't try to obtain it. Then I also had to know, well, who was I with? This is very important to know who are the people around you. I talked about the bookshop, getting to know people personally. Well, getting to know people as players is just as important. And when you're actually involved in an epic fight, we were going to fight a dragon, and it was amazing. I had to know, well, how healthy are people? Those are the green bars. Is anyone dying? Do I need to know that? The little squares next to them are buffs, which are sort of, have I given them an extra boost in their strength? Have I given them an ability to heal faster, to be involved in the game longer? And if I haven't, that's on me. I'm not contributing to the community that I'm in. And they recognize that, and they know that. And if you're not contributing, suddenly you're not being an active citizen involved in this community. And then there's our chat system down here. So here's one part of the chat system. And what's interesting to me is the leadership and the instructions that are given. And the leadership itself is flowing. No one was ever the sole leader. It wasn't, here's one person who's going to do everything. I have two people telling me simultaneously. I'm Elystrada the Swift up there. And then I had two people telling me, you know, don't get trapped in the tunnel. Wait, there's a boss at the end here. Yeah, get out of the tunnel right away. They kept saying, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. But they never fought over it. It just was. It was a simultaneous leadership interaction. And that only shows two people talking there, but multiple people would talk. And then finally, here I am with my group, all of our characters together, and that taught me that community is incredibly important to be together, that we have to cooperate, and that I have to trust that when I follow these guys, just as I was showing you in the interactive learning environment, as I follow them, I hope they're not leading me to impending doom. I hope that we get through this. So there's an innate sense of trust that you have to have. Also, there's educational taboos I learned. So I'm going to kind of get into why I feel this applies to education. Fun. Wow, is this incredibly important to gaming? And the value seems, you know, sort of, you say, well, yeah, of course games have to be fun. No. Everyone's fun is different. Every definition of fun is different. Yet they're okay with that. They're okay that you say, this is how I have fun and this is how I have fun. I started to notice in my interviews, someone brought up the word fun 4 times in one answer to a question. Gotta be fun. If other people aren't having fun, I'm not having fun. And it was sort of like, whoa, this is mind-boggling. And in education, 2 weeks ago, I had argument with fellow staff members about how I had used fun in a lesson and how inappropriate that was. And I think that's so silly, because to not have a conversation about what fun means is to disvalue that as something that's important in being involved in a community. So here's where multiple literacies really come up too. There's the idea, first I'll say the multiple literacies themselves, the different colors you see. Orange is our guild, so estimate 50 people. Blue is the group, about 6 people. Green is the outside world. These are characters in the game. And if you saw pink up there, that would be individual conversations. And I'm having to do those conversations all at the same time and manage them. And that's important. And if you don't manage them right, people don't want to play with you. People don't like to be around you. You need to be someone who can multitask. And I think that's important to know about our students who are involved in these sorts of games, that they know how to carry on these conversations. That it's important to their life to be able to carry on multiple conversations and with different audiences all at the same time. There's also the recognition of mistakes, which I'm going to go to in the next slide a little bit. This part. All right, I am defeated. It was unfortunate. I didn't win at this battle, but what's great in this game is you're able to revive one another. So I reflected on my shortcomings. I said, all right, I died. I know how to do it better next time. I know to dodge a bullet next time. But people would actually come over to me, and that little portion of red is where someone actually helped me to survive and get back in the game. In Guild Wars 2, it is encouraged that you bring people back to be with you and to help you. And so people were putting themselves in vulnerable positions, bending down to try and help me get up. And it's amazing that people do this continually. It wasn't just in my guild. It was when I was out in the world, people would try and help you get up. And I wondered, why aren't tests made this way? Why aren't classrooms made this way? We say, you have to get to the top. You need to get an A. Well, why doesn't everyone have to get that together? Why are essays written only by ourselves? Why aren't essays written in a group format? Why is it required that my outline has to be entirely different from your outline for an essay? It's me as an English teacher saying that. But it's so remarkable that I have many students who play games, and they go into these games and they play together, and then they come to school and they suddenly have to be apart and only doing their individual achievements. And it just doesn't work like that. In MMORPGs, it doesn't work like that as often. Cooperation is incredibly important. So if we aren't supporting that kind of citizenship, and you don't understand that kind of citizenship, we're actually completely counteracting it within schools. So, what does learning look like in a video game? It's fun. It's incredibly important. Make your classroom fun. It's supportive, it's cooperative. There's a recognition of achievements, and there's a recognition of failures, and not that failures are bad, that failures make you grow. And I know that we realize that, but so often I don't actually see that happen in a classroom, that it's okay to say I failed in front of a group, and it's okay. So remember that citizenship is a consideration of who we are and wish to be individually and as a society. I'll be around for questions, I guess, unless I can do questions. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. It takes a lot of planning and it takes a lot of work, and I think it's, for education, it's a part where we as educators need to be given that time to create that sort of environment, and the time I don't think is often given enough to create that kind of environment, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think earlier education focuses more on individual knowledge, and the later how to work with people comes later. It needs to be integrated sooner.
It needs to be, integrated fully. Again, I work in a school, and it was said before, I work in a school where 7th through 12th graders are all together and they work together. So this kind of thing is completely what I believe in, and that they should be doing it. Thank you.